was a creed written into the founding documents that declared the destiny of a nation. Yes, we can. It was whispered by slaves and abolitionists as they blazed a trail towards freedom through the darkest of nights. Yes, we can. It was sung by immigrants as they struck out from distant shores and pioneers who pushed westward against an unforgiving wilderness. Yes, we can.
Okay, we're currently shooting a documentary on politics and the presidential election that's up and coming. How do you feel about Mitt Romney? No. That's not. We got to keep it clean for the cameras. Okay. Do you feel that that his position is going to be beneficial to America? She's not responding.
First of all, I voted for him the last time, first time, and this time, and I think he's doing a pretty good job. You know, because the Republicans messed up everything for the last 12 years. He couldn't do everything in just 4 years, you know. And then he still has to go through the House and the Senate. You know what I'm saying? It's not all. He doesn't just have the last word. You know what I'm saying? So somebody got to work with him. You know what I'm saying? You know, I didn't vote for him just because he's black. I voted for him because I think he's the best man for the job.
When did you start to believe it?
Well, I never did. In fact, that I didn't feel that Obama was going to become president.
Even into election night?
I didn't believe it. When they said that he had practically won, then at the very end I did believe it. But up until the very end, I just couldn't believe it, because it had never happened before. And I thought they would do something crooked before they would allow it to happen. You know how they have a way of doing what they want to do with the votes.
Well, since we're an advocacy organization, I would really want to encourage people to really pay attention to the policies that are being legislated. I think there's a lot we as a nation can do in affordable housing and providing rental vouchers and services to support individuals. So if more people became engaged in the political process and took on their concerns for making sure that our policies really allowed everyone to realize the American dream of owning a home one day, it would be really effective in ensuring that we put our dollars in the right places, which we believe is in affordable housing, healthcare, more employment opportunities and training and things of that nature. So the first thing would be advocacy. Locally, individuals can become engaged working with shelters and contributing and supporting organizations that address these needs. But I still think effective advocacy at the local, state, and national level would be really the best way to have an impact on homelessness.
I honestly have no idea. I stopped paying attention to presidential elections a long time ago.
Why is that?
I don't really think a president's going to solve much, honestly. Like, I don't think the president even has much power. Like, I don't think if one person is the president, like, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like, it's just a figure, like a scapegoat for all the shit that the government's doing anyways. So I don't really care who the scapegoat is. I just want the government to stop being stupid.
Who do you think does have the power?
The rich people.
It's done with the acquiescence, I started to say collusion, of the U.S. government. Because United Nations Resolution 242, for instance, particularly prohibits the acquisition of territory by an act of war, which would mean that it's illegal for Israel to have acquired rights in Palestinian land because of the result of the 67 war. And the other thing is that 242 calls for, it was approved by Israel and the United States, it calls for the withdrawal of Israel from occupied territories of the Palestinians, and also occupied territories then of the Egyptians in the Sinai region. I negotiated that. And also Israel still occupies some of the property of the Syrians and a little bit of the property in one farm area of the Lebanese. So it calls for Israel to withdraw from occupied territories. So that's international law. And when the United States officially makes a declaration, I don't mean an unofficial statement by President Bush, but an official declaration, or when the International Quartet prescribes the roadmap for peace, they quote UN 242 as a guiding principle under which future negotiations should be held. But the international law is not enforced because Israelis refuse, some of them do, and because the United States lately has backed them up.
Yes, most definitely. The idea of a draft coming up in the future is because people are getting hip to the sham of the game that they're running on us. To alleviate that, the loss of manpower, they're talking about a draft.
I just know that my man right here, Frederick Taylor, has like probably 7 minutes left, and I know there's one question that needs to be resolved.
Okay.
If you guys are gonna die and you want to say something to all the people you know, Palmer, you're first. You've got 30 seconds.
So pretty much what you're asking is what I feel about being activated. What I feel about everything that I'm getting ready to go into and embark on is I joined the Marine Corps. I figure within 2 to 3 years we'd be activated. Sure enough, we are. And I spent 2 years in the Marine Corps as a reserve. Everything I've ever done, I'm taking seriously, and I feel it as like studying for a final. Now the final test is here. Am I gonna skip out on the final? Fuck no. I put all this time and effort into fucking everything I've ever done, like studying for a final. I'm not gonna skip on the final. Here it is. I'm ready.
You're gonna ace it.
Fuck yeah, of course. I'm confident about myself and the people that I train with.
The first thing I wanted to ask you, and you can decide if you want to answer this question or not, but who did you vote for?
I voted for John Kerry.
Okay. Now, why exactly did you vote for John Kerry?
I believe in his positions about international policy, his tax positions on healthcare, and just kind of things in general. And I don't agree with Bush basically on anything.
On anything?
Not really.
How about that blue tie he wears all the time?
I haven't really been seeing it too much.
You haven't seen it too much? Go back and look at all the videotape. He's always wearing a blue tie.
Okay, I don't have a TV, so I listen to everything on the radio.
Okay, NPR?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
As far as the 2008 election goes, what are you looking for in a presidential candidate?
Well, hopefully Hillary. I think Hillary will be. I think she'll be a good president.
Why is that?
I think she sort of represents diversity. The book that I read, when it referred to wisdom, it refers to the gender she. Mm-hmm. So I think to have a lady would be a wise thing.
Do you have an opinion about our president?
Oh, he doing a good job so far. But on that healthcare thing, they should pass the bill on that healthcare thing, because the older peoples who are retired from their jobs and stuff, they need their healthcare. And see, the Republicans ain't doing what they supposed to do. Even he only one man, he can only do so much that what Bush left. Bush left a lot of stuff messed up for him. Bush left it all tore up for him because they know we're gonna have a black president. And then one day, like Martin Luther King said, one nation, all nations should get together and be as one. That's when Obama become the president, and that happened, and they started Martin Luther King speech out right. But what I'm seeing that the president doing, wait a minute, golly. The president doing good on his election, and I wouldn't mind voting him back in again for president.
On the financial aspect, like overall world, I guess he would be a very good president. Currently, the financial crisis what India and overall the world is facing, he could resolve that. On the Indian front, there are three major issues that he should look on: the Pakistan issue, the nuclear treaty, and outsourcing. If he treats all this three well, hooray to Obama, President.
Some of the other propositions that are on the books, anything that struck your eye or was in your area of interest?
No, I just kind of voted on a few of them. I voted on the stem cell research, the yes on that, the yes on the 66 to 3 strikes alteration. And besides that, no, I left a few of them blank. I didn't really know too much about them, so I just kind of voted on the ones that I knew about.
Okay, very good.
President Obama.
I don't know. He's good person, I guess.
What about you?
He's a nice person. He's kind of good.
Right. What about you?
I think he's going to be the best president we ever had.
Because if this other president get in office, if this is going to be as bad as it is right now, it's going to get worse.
Now, why, if we went Republican right now, would things get worse?
Because Republicans is for the rich. That's why. Republicans is for the rich. They're not going to help the poor, the homeless, people that need, the small business. That's why.
How do you think things have changed between this election cycle and the one 4 years ago?
My honest opinion is that I think that this election is based more on race than anything. I think that we're now down to a point where we're seeing a lot of things come out of the woodwork. 33%, I say my fuzzy mom math, is 33% of the nation is voting for race. 33% is voting for their actual political party that they enjoy. 10% of them really don't know and not going to vote anyway. And the other 33% is going to be the swing vote that's going to carry us through.
What did you do for a living? I'm guessing that you're retired.
I was a housewife, mother of 3.
That's a full-time job.
Volunteer.
Where did you volunteer?
Oh, I did all kinds of volunteer work. Among other things, I started a project to make caps and scarves and mittens for Cleveland youngsters.
What made you want to start that project?
Well, the bishop asked us to do it, and I thought, I know how to knit, I know how to crochet. And I started going around to all the parishes and teaching people how to do it. And we had 1,000 caps, scarves, and mittens one Christmas.
And the fact that they are cutting education and specifically stating that Latinos and African children don't need more than an 8th grade education. The only way that people feel they have a way out for their children is to let them go into the military. And that is another way of targeting our youths.
It was sung by immigrants as they struck out from distant shores and pioneers who pushed westward against an unforgiving wilderness. Yes, we can. It was the call of workers who organized, women who reached for the ballot, a president who chose the moon as our new frontier, and a king who took us to the mountaintop and pointed the way to the promised land. Yes, we can to justice and equality.
I never dreamed that that would ever happen. In fact, if somebody had told me it was going to happen, I wouldn't have believed it.
So picture this. You're young, good looking, and everyone tells you have what it takes to make it in this country. Some people don't have access to the basics like healthcare, education, housing. Some suffer from mental illness, live in fear of gangs and law enforcement. Substance abuse and the environment are both preventable social issues. Climate change is no joke, people. Drink more water. Do we as a country have what it takes for a better tomorrow? So watch Tomorrowpictures.TV.